I'm Adrian, the cruise and travel guy. Would you ever book a Disney cruise without kids? That might sound crazy, but hear me out, because in this video I'll tell you why Disney Cruise Line might just be one of the best adult cruise lines around. When you're planning your next cruise, make sure to head to my website first, where you can search, compare, and book. When thinking about an adult holiday experience, it would probably be a stretch of the imagination to think about Disney Cruise Line. For most people, there's a general expectation that it's for families, full of screaming children, and maybe overpriced compared to other cruise lines. I should know, since that was my expectation too, but here's what completely surprised me about Disney. When I recently cruised on board Disney Wonder, admittedly one of the cruise line's oldest cruise ships, I was completely taken by the breadth of the adults-only offering. Up on the pool deck, adults will find Quiet Cove. It's like an adult's oasis, and set within the broader Disney package, it really feels like one. The large, heated pool and whirlpool hot tubs are flanked by sun lounges and comfy outdoor furnishings. There's both sunny and shady spots to luxuriate within during a calming day at sea. There are also tables and chairs, so you can come back from the main areas of the ship with some food and enjoy them in the solitude and privacy of the adults-only space. Plus, and importantly, Signal's Bar and Cove Cafe operate only for adult travelers. So enjoying a sea-day cocktail or just a freshly made coffee to start the day is all within reach from the solace of Quiet Cove. And the crew here were fantastic, especially during my cruise on board. I found that they were just so personable, and they really wanted to make your experience good and calming and relaxing. And during one sea day, they even came around with these complimentary treats. This one was some sort of strawberries and cream concoction. Once night falls, there's even more to enjoy, as the entire forward section of Deck 3 becomes adults only. That usually happens from around dinner time, and there are 3 venues here: the Cadillac Bar, which became my favorite hangout, the Crown and Fin Pub, and Azure, the nightclub. Between all 3, you're sure to find a vibe that suits. The Cadillac Bar was my pre-dinner go-to. I loved enjoying a couple of cocktails here, served with all of the elegance of an elevated city bar, accompanied by some salty snacks, of course. There was even the musical stylings of a resident pianist, and the bar is themed, as you've probably guessed, to look like a classic caddy. There's leather and car paraphernalia tastefully adorning the entire space, and the bar was open till just after midnight, while the English pub was open till about 1:30 a.m. The nightclub would wrap up at about 12 midnight. Between the outdoor spaces up top and the indoor venues down below, it feels like there are places for adults to go. More so than many other mainstream cruise lines, where adults-only spaces are pretty much relegated to 1 or 2 places, and even then, not very well enforced. Considering this is both one of Disney's oldest ships and equal smallest ship, it punches far above its weight when it comes to adults-only enjoyment. Like any good cruise, dining is part of the appeal, and while for the majority of people you will be dining with the all-age affair of the family cruise experience, which I'll dive into in more detail shortly, there are a couple of adults-only offerings. Depending on the ship, there's at least one, and the restaurant is open nightly for dinner and for brunch on certain sea days. You should expect an elevated menu and a more upscale dining experience, but unfortunately, all of the adults-only restaurants attract a per-person surcharge that on Disney Wonder was about $65 US. For adults not wanting to spend anything extra, well, you'll need to brave it with the kids and families at all of the included dining venues. Thankfully, there's a lot to choose from. The buffet is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner daily, but then there's also the poolside pizzeria, gyro, burger, and hot dog stands, and there are even healthier options available at Daisy's Delights. There are also 3 main restaurants on board, and these are each open for dinner every night. For dinner, all passengers have a set table number, and that is theirs for the duration of the cruise. The only thing you need to do when you've booked your cruise is select either early or late seating. I think early is about 5:45 p.m. and the late seating is about 8:15 p.m. Disney Cruise Line uses rotational dining, which means you cycle throughout each restaurant, but always at the same time and at the same table number, and always with the same wait staff and table mates. And as for table mates, Disney does a really good job of pairing like travelers with other travelers. Of course, if you're traveling in a group, then you'll be seated with your table mates or friends. But if you're just a couple, for example, without kids, then you are more likely to be seated with another couple that don't have kids either. One of the three restaurants is also open for a la carte breakfast daily and lunch on sea days, although reservations are not required. Even on one of its oldest ships, built literally last century, Disney Wonder still looks incredible, and you can tell that Disney Cruise Line keeps investing in the maintenance of its ships. Everything is beautifully finished and designed, and while some of the ship's features, like its small elevators and heavy outer doors with limited access for those that have mobility or access requirements, speaks to its late 90s origins, the rest of the ship is stunning. Even if you're not a Disney fan, it's hard not to fall for the ship. There are hidden Mickey silhouettes kind of everywhere, including your cabin and bathroom, piped Disney music in the corridors and stairwells, and venues that are themed to within an inch of their life, and it all adds to the ambience. Service is a highlight as well, with crew really treading that line very well between friendly engagement and professionalism. When it comes to entertainment, Disney's Broadway-style shows are among the best at sea. We watched Frozen on board our cruise, and by far it was one of the best shows I have ever seen on a cruise ship. Plus, there are deck parties. Well, they feel more like outdoor production shows like you'd see in a theme park, but there's plenty of them and they're incredibly popular. One late night deck party even culminates with fireworks. However, these are understandably weather permitting, and we missed out on them during our cruise thanks to strong winds. Even dining is part of the entertainment lineup. One of the cruise ship's restaurants, called the Animator's Palette, lets you draw on paper and then watch as it comes alive on the walls of the restaurant. The digital mid-dinner show incorporates music and lighting effects, and it's really fun for people of all ages, let me tell you. In Tiana's Palace, the New Orleans-style restaurant framed on The Princess and the Frog, dinner comes with a side of live singing and music and even dancing. Disney's cruise ships also forego the classic cruise ship casino. There is none on board, so you'll save money there, which is probably a good thing because they'll get you elsewhere. While the initial higher fare cost comes with less nickel and diming on board, there's really no getting away from the high price of adult beverages, the additional service charge that is levied on all drink purchases, and the daily gratuity fee. That last point, while commonplace overseas, is especially foreign to Australian cruisers who've enjoyed tips and gratuities forming part of a singular cruise fare for years and years now. There are also no drinks packages available, and although all sodas are included, things like bottled water, barista coffee, and of course all alcoholic drinks are charged per beverage and quickly add up. Across the ship, and once you've emerged from the sanctity of the adults only spaces, of course you're met with lots of families and kids enjoying themselves in the other spaces. And one of those things that they all seem to love to do, which I don't fully understand as not a Disney fanatic myself, is line up for character meet and greets. These are super well attended, with hour-plus long queues forming almost instantly. And look, I get it. If you have small kids, I can imagine that that would be incredible for them as an adult, and if you're not really into it, then it's just of no consequence to your cruise experience. By all means, though, you can go and line up and take a photo with any of them as well. We actually happened to spot Pluto while walking the open decks and snagged a photo with no hassle at all. Disney is definitely not the first cruise line you'll think of when you're planning an adult escape. It wasn't mine. But for those of you looking for something a little different, with a whole lot of whimsy and Disney charm, it could be a good alternative to the established mainstream cruise lines. Its adults-only zones are so well designed that they create a completely different ambience and experience to the rest of the ship. While most parents traveling with kids are out doing family cruise things in the rest of the ship, the adults-only areas remain ripe for the picking. Speaking as someone who isn't particularly a Disney fanatic, I still really enjoyed that Disney charm. It really is an experience like no other. There's something about the operation that just feels really cohesive, and I did enjoy it during our short cruise, but I do wonder and fear that over an extended period of time, whether I would find it to become a little bit too saccharine and orchestrated, especially for my cold little heart. Celebrity Cruises is another premium line that, while aimed at more mature cruisers, is still open to families and children, and ironically really doesn't offer anything substantial in terms of adult-only areas. For a true adult experience, Virgin Voyages remains one of the best options for those seeking a unique and fun cruise experience, but still within a large cruise ship format. You can watch my full Virgin Voyages review linked in the description below. So let me know in the comments, would you ever book a Disney cruise without kids? I definitely saw some adults enjoying their best lives on board Disney Wonder, and it was clear that they were Disney fanatics in there for that reason. We were there more to experience the Disney cruise product and see what that was like, and as part of that, I discovered by accident that, you know what, their adult-only offering is definitely one of the best at sea, but still, of course, within that Disney package. For the rest of you, perhaps something like Viking, Virgin, Celebrity maybe would be a better bet, but let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. The next time you're ready to book a cruise, head to my website first and give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram at the Cruise and Travel Guy to stay up to date with my travels as they happen. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you soon.